Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of June 17th, where this week, you guys, oh my gosh, we're going to probably have to redo things a couple times. And truly, I just don't think that the energy around communication is entirely clear. And it's for several reasons that I will talk about as we're going through what's happening this week. But I can also tell you that one of the reasons of that is that we're actually going to have this shift of energy from Gemini, where we've been in this mutable place, but the energies have been in air. They've been very clear, very crisp, moving around. Maybe even it felt like you got a little bit of energy back in your life. And as we make this transition, starting off right away at the beginning of the week into Cancer, and then it's like a planet into Cancer, a planet into Cancer, a planet into Cancer, there is this shift into what we're beginning where we're not exactly clear why we're doing what we're doing, or other people are questioning us about what we're doing and why we're doing it. So it is a week where I have to tell you, we're going to tread a little bit lightly, be prepared to need to do things or to ask clarifying questions or to answer clarifying questions as well. And if you can keep that in mind this week, instead of being annoyed and kind of flying off the handle, you can navigate with a little bit more ease, which is what I'm always trying to help you do when we are here talking about astrology. So if we haven't met before, I'm practicing professional astrologer Stormie Grace, and I look forward to having you here on the channel. If you don't have an astro community, or at least one that you like, we would love to have you here. If you do have an astro community that you like, we'd love to have you here. So like this video, comment, share, subscribe. Always can't wait to meet you. And if you're coming back to us, thank you for being here with us again. All right, really excited, you guys. The packages, the insight packages are still on sale, and they are going to go off sale in just a couple weeks here. So if that's you, if you are ready for that pulled in closer one-on-one kind of work, you want to get to know your Venus in your chart, you want to understand more about your soul's purpose and the journey, you're looking to transition from careers, what do you have going on that astrology could actually be speaking to, and that you and I can walk through that together. If that's you and that's what you're ready for, and that kind of support, the packages are on sale for the summer, and they are in the description box down below as well. Super, super, super excited. It's just 6 months away where I will be coming to see our friends in Australia. And you know what? Even if you're not going to be in Australia, you can go online, I believe. So if that is something that you're interested in, or if you're like, Stormie, I've been needing a vacation anyways, I'm going to Australia to see the big spiders and learn about the astrology with you, click in the description box down below and join us at the Australian conference. I cannot wait. I will be teaching with you the entire time. I have 4 presentations, a really nice long workshop I'm going to walk you through. Either way, I can't wait to see our soulmates that are down in Australia. All right, beautiful friends, let's jump in and talk about what this week has to offer. And as always, there are timestamps in the description box down below for every single day, so you can go exactly where you need to, okay? All right, first and foremost, on Monday, busy day. It is coming in hot and heavy and extra unclear. So on Monday, when we're coming in, the first thing to note is that early in the morning, earlier in the day, we're traveling in with the moon in the energy of Libra. So we're coming in on Monday, which is naturally a moon day. So remember, on Monday, no matter what the planets are doing, we're in that space of a day that is led energetically by the moon. So it can be quite changeable, but it's also, it's not the day where we're flustered and we're doing a lot of things. But as we come in with the moon in Libra, we're coming in with the moon in an air sign. So one of the most natural things when the moon is in an air sign is we're doing a lot of thinking. We're trying to balance out our thinking. One of the other things that could be happening is if things are coming up and you feel like you need to express yourself, that's exactly what's happening. You're saying what you're thinking. You're saying what you're feeling, the moon, and you're putting it out, and you're trying to have these conversations maybe in your relations or relationships. And it's kind of an interesting thing that's happening, because while we get all of this balancing and this attempt to connect and relate on Monday, we have also got Venus moving into the vibration of Cancer. And that's fantastic, because we move Venus in this place where we're connecting with and we're attracting to the energy in a place that's not so intellectual. In Cancer, it's like we're attracting in people, situations, and circumstances that can really emotionally vibe with us and hear and feel the direction that we're trying to go. But right behind that, what happens is we get a void of course moon. So here you are, you're ready to express the way that you feel, some things that are coming up for you, then the moon goes void, of course, so the energy is flat. Okay? It's not there. It's like what you're trying to say feels like it falls into the void, or it's not clear. You're having to repeat yourself. It's not coming out the way that you wanted it to. And then right after the void of course moon, the moon moves into the vibration of Scorpio. So this is where I think we add a little bit of complication, not just because it's Scorpio, but because the moon in Scorpio is considered to be in fall. It's like the moon wants to go deep. It wants to have those deep moments. Venus is in Cancer. It's happy to attract that depth and that nurturing now. However, the moon goes so deep in the vibration of Scorpio that it is like you're at the root of matters. So you were just meaning to say, I'm not actually feeling very well. I was thinking about some things that are coming up in our relationship. And you're like, I don't even know if we should be married. I mean, it comes out that deep. It comes out at the root of something that could be down there. Now, if that's what you've really been thinking and that's what's really needed to be expressed, then this is great because we're working on things from the root so we can get it sorted out. But the other side of that is that the moon governs all of us. It's the people, especially when we're talking about mundane astrology. So you're saying, I don't know, I'm just kind of feeling off about something. And what the person who's receiving that information hears is, I don't think we should be married. I want to get divorced. I think you're the worst person. I mean, it can kind of get this extremeness instead of being this, wow, we're going to savor the depth of good conversation, right? So it becomes a really, I think, a bit of an intense vibration on Monday, and it's also not entirely clear. But Venus is pulling in this space. Like I said, she's attracting to you this energy that's like, I want to nurture. I'm calling in nurturing. I'm calling in comfort. I'm calling in conversations about how I feel and what do you need and where is security. So, whoa, it's pulling it in, but then it's like taking it really, really, really deep. Okay. Now, just behind that, we're going to see Mercury, who's still traveling in the energy of Gemini for just a little bit, come into a square with Neptune. And this does not clear anything up. This does not clear anything up. In fact, this is one of the energies where I just want to kind of put a red light, maybe even a yellow light on Monday. Because when Mercury's traveling with Neptune here in Gemini, it's moving quickly. It's looking for facts. It's picking up the information and it's sharing information, but it's running into Neptune that's creating a bit of the delusion, right? And it's more of the delusion, and that moon is in Scorpio. So it's really, truly, you're saying, I don't care for this particular kind of food, and what your partner or what the chef hears is, you think I'm a terrible person, and it gets really big really fast. Or at a very mundane level, what could be happening is you're sharing some piece of information or something like that, and it's just not caught, right? Like it's just not caught. It's not clear. It's like, what are you saying? What are you doing? Are you giving me a compliment or are you being passive aggressive, right? So there's just this lack of clarity in the air as we're traveling here on Monday. Now, just behind that, we will see that Mercury now enters into the vibration of Cancer. So Venus and Mercury are ushering us into this Cancerian energy, okay? And then as we get a couple days down the road, we'll see the sun move into Cancer, and then we're solidly in that Cancerian vibe. But with Mercury in the vibration of Cancer, now it's kind of similar to what we saw before. We take our thinking planet, our word planet, our communication planet, our perceptive planet, and then we put it in the feeling sign ruled by the moon, who's over in Scorpio. So I'm telling you, on Monday, you're just like, I need a timeout. I need a timeout. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to hash this out with you, and this is not going the right way. Or I'm asking you questions with details, and you're not giving me what I want. I'm getting upset. Let's just calm down. So I actually think that if there is something that comes up in your relationships or something like that, this is a great day to practice fighting fair. You know, if it's getting too hated, let it be a pleasure to say, hold on, I need to pause and step away. I'm not clear here. The other thing, though, that I think the entirety of the Mercury traveling through Cancer vibration has to offer us is a real, genuine space of forgiveness and cooperation with each other, because it's this thing where you realize that the way that our brains work, just as human beings, just because we're human beings, whether you're evolved, you're not evolved, whatever we think, just the way the brain works and our perceptions work, sometimes we're just not clear. We're just our finite, fallible selves, right? And so this is a great day to just kind of let someone off the hook. Be like, okay, listen, I think you're trying to give me a compliment, but I'm kind of getting mad about it. I'm reading this the wrong way. So I'm going to just assume you're giving me a compliment and say thank you and move on for the sake of health and sanity. You know what I mean? It may that be that particular day. But we will have Mercury traveling through Cancer all the way until July 2nd. So other things that we can look forward to during this transit is, you're not looking for so much information. You're really trusting your intuition. You're trusting your emotional intelligence to guide and to drive you in the things that you're doing. And you may also be thinking about your emotions, which is really cool because it also means that you'll be thinking about the emotions of others as well. Now, we are going to see as we get later in the day on Monday, we're going to see that Mercury comes into a quincunx here. Mercury comes into a quincunx with Pluto. Now, the quincunx is an aspect that it requires adjustment because the signs, the elements, and the qualities, they just don't relate well to each other. So they're both correct, but we have to adjust. Okay, so we've got Mercury over here who's trying to think, who's trying to communicate, who's trying to bring information, and Pluto who's not only in Aquarius, but retrograding at this particular time. So it's going back over some things that it has shown us about life, about society, about things like that. And so we're trying to reconcile who we are, how we feel currently, right? Now that we're not so busy, Gemini moving us all around, that we've had to stop and be with ourselves and be with our feelings. We're trying to recognize, how we feel and how we feel about the world that's coming and what we're going to do about it. Like, how are we doing here? And it's kind of hard to reconcile those two places of conversation. Instead it's like being still, pausing for research, pausing for reflection of the self is the best place to go. Now, it is also a really interesting energy, I think, in this quincunx, that it is like, we've got this miscommunication that's available here on Monday. And if we take that miscommunication, if we take our perception of what someone said, we can get on board with a delusion that creates secrets, revenge, plot, it creates a poor story going down the road. And this quincunx with Pluto will actually amplify it and bring more confusion to the table. So then it's like you've made a decision out of a delusion or out of a lack of clarity as opposed to what is in reality. So I think it's an okay energy here at the end of the day as we're traveling on Monday to go, you know what? I need to just pause for a second. I need to be with this. I need to, maybe I need to journal about it. Maybe I need to digest some truths, because sometimes people have told us something about ourselves, about our products, about how we've been, and we need a minute to just be with the honest information, not with the initial reaction that has come out of us. So I would say Monday, not the best day for all the business dealings in the world that you may think you want to get involved in. I would actually wait for that. Now, as we get into Tuesday, so we're still traveling with that moon here in the vibration of Scorpio, but what we're going to see happen next is that now Venus is going to come into this quincunx with Pluto. So Venus also in that vibration of Cancer. Now, as Venus, Pluto come into this quincunx with each other, you remember Venus is what you're calling and you're attracting into yourself. And now you're using Cancerian qualities. You're not going directly at something. It's a bit indirect. You're calling in things that bring nurturing, that bring security to you. But Pluto they're sitting in this quincunx and Pluto is retrograde. So it's going back over things in your life that are like where you have power struggles going on. You're trying to bring security to yourself, but you're actually standing in your own way. Or maybe you've got an organization or you've got friendships that are standing in your own way and you're questioning this at this particular time on Tuesday, because it's like, okay, Where am I having power struggle and control issues that are keeping me from having this nurturing and success in my life, right? But where are other people actually just standing in the way of you getting to where you would like to be? So I think that this will be a big question that you're wrestling with, or is at least put to your attention as we're traveling here on Tuesday. Now, the other thing is that because Pluto is the transpersonal planet, so it also governs our society, right? A societal planet, excuse me. So as we're looking at that, you can be like, I'm not sure if my idea is going to work in the world to come. I don't know if my business idea is going to work. I don't know if my relationship idea is going to work. Like, you're unclear. Pluto can bring not only the control issues, but all the fear that comes with control issues to the surface as well. So here we are again on Tuesday, and there's this energy on the table that can just feel deeper. It can feel heavier, and it is still not as clear as we would like energy to be as you're making really big decisions. Instead, I think something that is good at this particular energy is that the moon will actually come into a trine with Saturn here on Tuesday, and that is quite helpful because it brings some stability to the table. So it's like, okay, hold on a minute. We maybe don't know any of these things are going to work out. Maybe you didn't hear back from the job. Maybe the person hasn't answered the text. You haven't heard back from the attorney, whatever it is. But it's like peace. How can you have internal and emotional stability? Because that is not dependent on any outside source, right? You have emotional stability and you can bring that into your life, or you don't have it. So this is a great place where you can go, okay, but how do I bring this into my own life? Okay. So it's really interesting energies here on Monday and Tuesday for sure. Now, as we're rolling over here into Wednesday, well, we'll see the moon is going to step into a bit of a void, of course, very short one on Wednesday. Nothing really even to speak of because it's going to be so fast that we'll probably miss it. But then the moon rolls here into the vibration of Sagittarius. Okay. So as the moon is traveling through Sagittarius, we come out of the deep. We've been rolling in the deep, just like Adele. And now we're back to the surface a little bit. But the real truth is that we came from the depth, the complexities, bits of truth about ourselves that maybe people have shared with us, or we have acknowledged, our fears, maybe things we're even jealous of, or we have power struggles with. And so we've kind of seen those motivations in the light of day. So now, as the moon comes into Sagittarius, we're like, okay, listen, I can work with some new truths. We're typically pretty enthusiastic about the whole thing because it's like, that was so much. I was so deep. And now I'm happy to be back in some fire. I can take that and use that as fuel for my beautiful fire, and I can go beyond my own horizons. It's a lot more enthusiastic energy as we get to Wednesday. There's a lot more room if you want to be a little spontaneous with some things and to challenge your own belief systems, but in a way that you really want to. Now, the question that always pops up as the moon comes to its once a month visit through Sagittarius is like, what is the next adventure of your life, of your emotional life, of your being? And do you have all of the emotional tools that you need to go on your journey? Which is great, because remember, we were checking on some emotional stabilization here on Tuesday. And if you find out that you're like, no, every little thing is catching my attention and kicking me off balance, this is a great time to bring in a teacher, bring in a course of study, bring in something grounding that allows you to steady your energy. And I always want you to bring in good food. I always want you to have good food. Sagittarius, go try something foreign to you. Try a food, try a tea that you've never tried before, that you've never heard of, that maybe can be a piece of your toolkit for your next adventure, okay? Now, we've got a little tiny aspect that shows up on Wednesday as well. We'll see Mercury in just a semi-sextile to Jupiter. So it's like a little good luck is what's available here. And this energy you'll have it for about 2 days that'll be in play here, okay? But what this brings is this space that I think very much so goes along with that moon. There's a lot more willingness to be open-minded, to be flexible. It's like, okay, I can take baby steps towards my opportunity. I can ask some questions about what I need to go on this next adventure, right? I can trust my emotional intuition and my emotional intelligence to guide me. And I also just think it's a really nice attitude about yourself currently and your future, which we'll definitely be able to use some of that as we're traveling. So when we get here on Thursday, first of all, we've got the sun in a square to Neptune. Okay, so the sun has got its last moments in this vibration of Gemini, and the sun is bringing light, heat, life, and vitality here on Thursday, okay? So the sun is what you're motivated to do. So in Gemini, you're having these last minute conversations, right? You're having some pretty powerful conversations. You're having thoughts. You're making connections and networks and things like that. Now, as the sun squares against Neptune, the square is the 911 aspect. It says you need to do something with or about this. So the first thing that comes up is you're sharing something and you can feel really tender about what you're sharing, or you're you're overly sensitive to what someone is saying or someone is bringing to your attention at this time, and you're just kind of like, whoa, like I thought I was sharing something really cool with you. Why are you having that reaction? Or somebody sharing something that is just, their new version of open-mindedness, or they've just had this vast discovery about themselves, and you're like, I don't actually think that that's that great. And I think a really great example of this is when, let's just use teenagers where, they've had this vast discovery and opening about themselves. And then they come and share it with the parent, and the parent is like, you have literally been taking us hostage with your attitude for the last 3 weeks. So I'm glad you've had a discovery, but I'm not impressed with it. It can be like that. Now, whether that's parent, child, or whatever, it can be like that. So I just want you to be mindful that the sun is motivated to talk and to share and disperse the information it's recently found out over this Gemini season. But other people might be like, I'm not really interested in hearing that, or you're sharing and it's just feels like it's on deaf ears, okay? The thing is, share with people who can really enjoy that information with you. And also remember, sometimes you're sharing something with people, and it's about where they are, not about where you are. But I would encourage highly that you have a think before you share what you're going to share. If you're going to be making a presentation and you get a cute, snarky joke that pops into your head, maybe have an extra think about that before you let it go, because someone in the back is going to be like, that's not PC, or whatever. And then it starts to take a tumble really quickly. Okay. But then we get out of there and get into our emotional, intellectual bodies. And we have the sun move into the vibration of Cancer for the next 4 weeks. So happy birthday, Cancerians. And oh my gosh, every time I say happy birthday to the Cancers, I want Cancers to have like at least 5 minutes to really celebrate their birthdays, because I can already hear the Leos coming in. Yes, Leos, we know it's almost your turn, but Cancers get to go first. Don't squish the crabs, okay? Happy birthday, Cancer. And for the rest of us, happy birthday to the Cancerian area of your chart. How does this area of your chart look different than it did last year? For example, for me, Cancer actually lives in my 11th house. So what I'll be doing is an evaluation of what was I motivated by? What came into my life last year when Cancer season, June, rolled around? And what's different in that area now? And how would I like to shape that for the next year? So everybody's Cancerian area is getting a little birthday here. And it also is our solstice time. So we're really at this place where we're entering into a new season. And I want each of us to take our hearts and our bodies into that this week. This is the next start. We're at our next start. Okay, so this is exciting. What are you going to nurture, Cancer, into this existence? What are you going to begin to nurture? Where are you going to begin to trust your intuition more? You know, your intuition pops up and tells you something, and instead of going, well, why? How come? You just say, cool, intuition, got it, I heard you, and trust it and move with that, right? So where is this happening in your particular chart? Let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to see how it's working out for you. We'll see what what comes into my 11th house, my friendship and my social media zone. I can already, I won't tell you yet, but I can tell you there's a lot that's already being shaped over there. Okay, on Friday, on the 21st, first of all, we are going to see that we have got Mercury in a sextile here to Mars. Okay, so we've got the thinking planet in a really nice connection with the doing planet. Okay, so this sextile creates a pocket of opportunity, but it's not just an opportunity that's there. It's an opportunity that you are intelligently taking action on. So this is when I think the week gets just a little bit lighter in terms of your actions and what you can do. Because Mercury and Mars here together, you're trusting your intuition. Mercury is in Cancer. You trust your intuition, you're trusting your emotional intelligence, and you're ready to move. Mars is slowed down enough in the energy of Taurus that it's like, oh yeah, no, okay. I'm actually decisive, Mars, about what I'm doing, but I'm feeling through this. I'm reading the room. I'm reading this program that I'm building. I'm sensing this space where it's like, it cannot always be about money. It's not just all money, money, money. What's the person? What's the people aspect? What's the emotional aspect of this thing, right? So you're really a little bit more into that space. I also happen to think that Mercury Mars here today is a great aspect for writing. Now, whether that is your journaling and you've just got to get something lifted off of your head, out of your heart, whatever it is, it's a great day for writing it down. But I think it's a better day for strategy writing. If you wanted to build something or you needed to make a list of what you need to gather to build something or to get something done, Mercury is absolutely fueling you to do that. And Mars is methodical enough in Taurus to help you go step by step and get it done. Now, we're going to see this information and this transit in terms of them being in a sextile again in August. So get ready to check on where you've been here from the 21st, getting all the way to August, okay? Now, we're going to see that the moon later in the day goes into a void of course position. It's very short. It's like 13 minutes. So it's probably going to go blow by you. But then just after that, we see the moon get into Capricorn. And Friday evening, going all the way through the weekend, has just this real heat of the full moon energy, which is the other reason I think that this week's information is kind of confusing, because you may need to do things more than once. You may be second guessing yourself. When the moon moves into Capricorn, it's great. It's our personal check-in to say, okay, where am I at emotionally? Emotionally, am I stability? Where am I at that I feel rooted? I feel grounded, that I feel like I can delegate. I need to restructure something in order to be successful. But then just behind that, we see the full moon clicks in. And so this full moon is going to be at 1 degree of Capricorn and is in a T-square to Neptune, which is telling us the full moon says something needs to be ended, acknowledged, or adjusted. So we already need to pivot here. We need to have a re-look at what's going on in some way and say, do I keep doing this because it's meeting the goal, or do I need to let this go and pivot in a new direction or surrender a piece of it, right? With it in this square to Neptune, there is a lack of clarity. It's like, I just am not sure. It's like I just am not sure what to do with this. I think I have an idea of what to do. I think I have an idea of what to let go of. I think I have an idea of how to restructure this particular thing. And the truth is that square to Neptune, you maybe don't. But what you can do with this particular full moon is, first of all, if you got information you shared information this week that was really true, I really don't know what I'm doing. This particular module in the program I'm building has a gap. I do need to redo this thing. I need to be honest about this, right? Use those as really strong guideposts for where you can make the best pivot that you can at this particular time. Because what you don't want to run into is taking an action that's deceptive, deceiving yourself about the reality of something that is going on, so that you build something that is not, whether it be a relationship or a business, you build something that's not steady. So at this full moon, what I would say is just know whatever you start now, do it with the best intention you can, with your best foot forward, with all the clarity you've got. And anything that comes to you on this date, you're likely going to redo it. You're likely going to see it again in culmination when we get to July 21st, which is going to be a full moon also in Capricorn. So the second one, but at a later degree where there's more clarity. And then you can consider how to navigate this particular area, I think, with a lot more clarity. Now, I do want to make sure that you remember and call you back to some dates, because this is the full moon, so you're pivoting. But from what? You're pivoting to what you started December 23rd of 2022. Go back to that date and that time, what was going on for you. The new moon was at 1 degree of Capricorn, so you were starting something at the exact degree, planting seeds, and it was going to take some time for those things in that new direction to come your way. Now, September 22nd of 2023, you hit your first quarter time. There was lots of action. There was movement. You were tearing down something old, building something new. And now as you're at this full moon, you're like, I need to pivot. What, did I reach the goal? Is this the end of the goal? I need to pivot in some way. But again, you're not entirely clear, and it's okay. Just hold. Just pause, because when we get to March 22nd of 2025, that's when you'll have your last quarter moon. So you can know that what you were building in this lunar family actually comes to an end, okay? All right, now when we get to Saturday is looking quite good. We've got Venus in the semi-sextile to Jupiter. That's okay. That's pretty friendly. It's pretty friendly. It's pretty easy. Those are both benefic planets. They're working well with each other. So I think that there's also a fair amount of ease to Saturday, but we are still under that full moon energy. So full moons can be emotionally activating for sure, especially if you feel like you don't have clarity. And because if it's in Capricorn, if you feel like you don't have clarity around your business, something legal, your money, your marriage, your title, your education, you can be feeling a little bit of frazzled. But I think that Venus and Jupiter coming in here on Saturday does pull just a little bit of salve on there. Now we'll have the sun come into a quincunx with Pluto here, so you can be obsessive. I wouldn't let any of the obsessive compulsive things ruin your Saturday. Just try and have a good weekend, okay, is all I'm saying. Now, when we get to Sunday, we're going to see that the moon pushes over here into the vibration of Aquarius. Okay, the moon moves into the Aquarius, and it's late in the day on Sunday, so it'll really be carrying us into Monday. But as the moon moves into the vibration of Aquarius, again, we're a little bit more friendly. We're willing to be a little bit more social, but it is also the moon moving into air, so we're thinking about how we feel, and then we will absolutely be talking about it. But it's a great time to do your investigation on Sunday and go, all right, before bed tonight, or before work, if you're a late night worker, what do I need to let go of? What am I being too attached to? I am trying to control the outcome. I have lost sight that my job is the footwork, and then I have to let the footwork dictate the outcome. Right? Where have I lost connection with this and I'm fighting with it? I can let go. I can be easy. Where am I being too rigid in my thinking? I'm saying it can only be this way. I can only be this way. And I can release that just a little bit. Watch something funny on YouTube. Read something funny. Read that book that you've been trying to pick up. You know, whatever brings a little bit of light, a little bit of ease, and a little bit of an ability to remain innovative and objective to your own thinking and emotions. And that's a great way to round out your travels on Sunday, because it will have definitely, I think, been a week where the information was not as clear, not as crisp, and we're going to need to emotionally reconcile the information and the emotions. All right, my absolutely beautiful friends, if you are ready for some one-on-one time with me, click in the description box down below. I would love to see you in session. Can't wait to see you in Australia, and I will definitely see you in your next video. If you have not checked out your June horoscope for your particular sign, click in the video. I was going to say click in the description box. Click in the videos that I'll put in the end here and make sure you check those out, okay? All right, soulmates, I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.